Geek Dad Life presents live reactions to Season 3 of The Mandalorian. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to live reactions to Season 3 of The Mandalorian. My name is Jay, and with me on this journey of dipping in the mines of Mandalore is my good friend Nat and Ralph. Gentlemen, how you doing tonight?
Good.
Bringing the heat.
Yeah, I just told you like a minute ago.
Ralph's a little
that real
tired.
short intro.
That's fine. It's gonna be fine, Ralph. Matt, what were you gonna say?
I'm as good as a Grogu's growl.
Oh, I like the alliteration.
Thanks.
I like it.
I expect one every week.
Yeah, that's how Ralph runs this show. He's like, okay, if you did one, you can do it again.
Do it for the rest of your life. We have a special guest joining us tonight, which I'm really pumped about. But before we bring them on, let's say hello to the chat. It is hopping even on a Wednesday night, right after the show. We got bad comment bots. Whoa, trash show, get out of here with that crap. Go, skadoodles.
Right after the show is 7:30 in the morning over at liveactionstarwars.com.
What's that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
Space Cowboy is here. Mike Hex, Jeff Morris is here. Joey Curiel, Charlie Weaver's in the house. Riley Bob, Andy Silva, Space Cowboy, Mutagen Ooze, Everyday Inventors, Stevie Apple, Silva K. So sad we didn't get to see Pedro's Pedro. We'll talk about that for sure. Todd,
Isn't that Jay and Jack's new podcast?
Mike Hex is here. Hung Wen, Joey Curiel, Lucha Johnny, Toy Geekasaurus is here. Hung Wen literally just finished up too. Well, you're here just in time. Nelson A is here as well. All right, so everybody that's here gets a chance to also hang with one of my favorite people on the internets. One of the first people I think I saw on the YouTube, and I really got it.
You? You?
No, it's not any of you. It is Jake Stevens from Forlom to Zuckuss. Welcome, Jake.
Hello and welcome. Welcome. I always say welcome, like it's my show. My show now. Jake Geek Life, welcome to the show. I'm excited to talk the Mines of Moria with you all.
Indeed. All right, so let's just dig into it. So last week, Jake, I guess since you weren't on the show last week, since you are a special guest, we I think we in general liked the episode. Ralph maybe less than Matt and I, but we did acknowledge that it didn't have a whole lot going on for a season premiere. What was your thoughts on the season premiere?
Yeah, it was definitely a setup for the season, which is difficult to handle when you're dealing with only like 8 episodes. You want every episode to be like meat and potatoes, but this was definitely a retread of some of the stuff. I mean, they just like ripped the script page out of Book of Boba Fett and they reread it on Mando. So, I felt like there could have been a little more, creativity with how they went over that information again. But it was fun to see them just get right into it, because you wouldn't think that we were going to be already to that. We thought maybe this was going to be the culmination of the season, getting in those waters. And, here we are, partway through episode 2, and we've done it already. So it's kind of exciting. We got stuff to do, but, there was a statement said that, Mando this season felt like fast food because it was so quick and it was so, and I kind of like, I threw the phone maybe when I watched it, because I'm going to go with comfort food. I feel like that's a better description for my feelings on Mando. It's comfort food. Andor was that pricey meal you take your wife out to once or twice a year. It's really rich. It's emotional. It's expensive. It doesn't, you don't want to eat it all the time. So Andor is a wonderful, wonderful experience. If I had to go junk food, I would definitely probably go Obi-Wan. And if anyone knows me, Obi-Wan just it was just, I don't know if it was a COVID production or if it was a directorial production. It just did not have the same bar as Mando or even Andor, of course. But yeah, so that would be my, and I have tattoos of, Obi-Wan's saber. I think I got master replicas somewhere back here. I mean, Obi-Wan's my guy, and it's heartbreaking to say that. But Mando, that first season felt so good. Like we're back with it. We're stuff that's familiar, right? We jumped around a few places, but they were familiar places. We got to see familiar characters and see evolution. So I don't know. I was happy with it. I was very happy with it.
No, I appreciate that. Ralph, I moved you up so that you could give a rebuttal since the fast food line was your line.
Okay, it was Ralph.
I think I said junk food.
Junk food.
But,
okay, even there it is.
But fast food's the same. Like I enjoy like a McDonald's cheeseburger. Who doesn't? Well,
so maybe it is your comfort food, right? Maybe that's
I guess that I like. I think that comfort food has a more positive spin on it, which is nice.
Yeah. See, there I am. Yeah. There I am.
Yeah, I like it. That's good.
I work with 6th graders all day, so I got to learn how to sneak the positivity in when I can, because
I feel like Mandalorian's like mashed potatoes or mac and cheese or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My kid doesn't like mac and cheese, which is weird. Matt, what's your thoughts? I don't know, Matt. What are your thoughts on the second episode? How you feeling?
So now that we've seen this episode, it really feels like that first episode that we got should have been a prologue or something like that. Like it almost feels like it was written after the fact, almost as a shoehorn to the events that we're going to see. And sure, maybe they expanded or moved some things around, but this feels more kind of like an opener where it kicks it off and we're going right to this place that we thought we were going to. We didn't have to have this like, okay, this is what's happened to Bo-Katan. She's all like, and well, we'll get to her scene. But yeah, I guess.
Well, I guess let's just quickly synopsis this episode. So let me just jump in where the hell we want to jump into. We're not going to go.
Sure,
whatever. We can do whatever we want. It does. It just basically he goes to Tatooine, Pelimoto. I need the dang IG-11 part, and they're like, sorry, that's a dumb idea.
Yeah, use this.
Carry on the previous episode. It's just like, here, take R5. They go to Mandalore. And I guess the air is breathable, and he gets caught by some weird cyborg half-living thing. Oh, go ahead, Ralph.
They walk a while. Okay, proceed.
They walk a while, and then they go in, and when Baby Grogu has to go get Bo-Katan to save him, and then there's this really nice scene where they kind of have some soup. And then he finally gets to the mines to bathe himself.
Hold on. And they walk a while.
Okay,
go ahead.
And then he bathes himself, but then he gets pulled under, and Bo-Katan goes to save him and gets him out. But on her way out, she sees a god-dang mythosaur and close the episode. All right, so that's the gist of it. All right, Matt, what do you want to dig into first?
That mythosaur, well, I mean, I think we saw the writing on the wall from season 2. We wanted to see this mythosaur, maybe since season 2.5, and we heard that there was going to be this bathing in the waters. But yes, I wanted to see a mythosaur, and I'm glad they didn't hold that back. They tease it. Possibly we're going to see more of this in the next episode. They're clearly going to be on Mandalore. Maybe we're going to see more of their adventures there. And to go with something that Ralph has said in praise of season 1 is that it feels like they're playing with toys again. It's just like, oh, here's R5D4 with Mando on an adventure with Baby Yoda, and oh, by the way, there's a 21B droid that's manning the castle of this other Mando. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing, yes, that droid was different than a 21B, but man, it had the same kind of similar legs.
Color, yeah.
So it was a nice, so all of those elements coming together, and I think that's what what we've enjoyed about the adventure aspect of Mando. Whether or not they're walking towards something or walking away from something, I don't care.
We're walking back towards something the same route
along the way, Ralph.
Yeah, it is.
Jake, what was your thoughts on seeing the mythosaur?
Yeah, the mythosaur. That was I was really surprised. I mean, that shocked me probably as much as Bo-Katan when she was blasting up through the water, right? I mean, because these are a thing of legend, right? I mean, it's kind of like, it's seen out Jurassic Park when they see the brontosaur for the first time, right? I mean, you're not expecting to ever see this, right? This is a thing. It goes back to me. I've been reading Star Wars comics. I'm not up to date on the Marvel stuff, the modern Marvel stuff as much, but I loved and was pretty much a completist for the most part, tried to be on the Dark Horse. And they did the background story of the Beast Riders and all these different things, of ancient Mandalore. And so I was very, very excited to, especially when Clone Wars dug into that backstory. Yeah. So they lifted that out of the expanded universe, the Legends material, and brought that to the forefront. And now we're still living off that. So it was awesome. And, I don't know, Jay, if you saw it, but I tweeted today in frustration of seeing the mythosaur. In frustration, I posted a tweet about, or an Instagram, anything, all of them above, about how Mattel can just crank out a whole line based on 3 3/4 dinosaurs, right? And Hasbro has not released a single creature bigger than a dog since 2015 in their 3 3/4 line. They just haven't done it. They haven't done it.
Crazy.
And I don't want to. Yeah, there it is. I don't want to talk about the 6-inch line and the Rancor failing and any of that. That's not what I'm talking about, because that's not what Mattel makes. I'm trying to compare these two in regards to the Mattel and the Hasbro lines not being able to function together.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. I think it's why I was kind of bored with the Star Wars toy line in a lot of ways. Ralph, what was your thoughts on seeing the mythosaur?
I thought it was neat. And the thing is, I wasn't expecting it, and I didn't really know what it looked like, because I was always under the impression that the mythosaur was the thing that Boba Fett was riding in the holiday special cartoon. And I guess sometimes that's sort of what it looks like, and sometimes it doesn't. But so I was just like, oh, there's a giant monster down there. But when you see the sort of the skull and the tusks, you're like, I know what that is. But then I was like, oh, I guess we gotta wait to see more of it.
Well, they're going to put the writing on the wall like they did with the Rancor, right? I mean, they've showed you the shotgun, and it'll be a while before they get around to using it, most likely.
So it's true. This seems like a HasLab waiting to happen. I feel like this is a HasLab that needs to happen. Unlike the Rancor, unlike the lightsaber, like this, like who is not going to want this, especially if it's written by either Mando, Bo-Katan, or Baby Grogu.
And I assume it's going to have like dragon wings of some type, like those little creatures that we saw like scurrying around. Like, is that like kind of like or there's just dragon rats? Is that dragon rats? Okay, dragon rats. That's fine.
I want it to just be like a Godzilla.
That's what that's a good question, right? Because I think Jake's point is Mattel can just make 3 3/4 monsters that are pretty damn big on a toy shelf, but Hasbro would HasLab it though if they were going to do it. But
they would. The frustrating thing is Mattel makes them affordable, makes them ginormous and affordable. If Hasbro was to do a mythosaur, it would be $155 thing. And here's the only reason they would do it is if they could reissue it or repaint it multiple times.
Yeah.
So unless we see a family of mythosaurs, you're not getting a mythosaur from Hasbro right now. Not in their current model.
Baby mythosaur.
Baby. Well, they could have done a baby Zillo Beast, right? Based on last week's Bad Batch. But they didn't make a Zillo Beast back when at the height of Hasbro's like cranking out action figures. I mean, during the Clone Wars, they had the Clone Wars, they had the Vintage Collection, they had the Legends series. I mean, they had like multiple
Golden
lines
Age.
going,
Yeah.
and they weren't $1,000 a piece. And so if they didn't do it then, unfortunately, they're not going to do it now.
Jay, how much was your Brachiosaurus from that you got like a couple years
Oh,
ago?
it wasn't that expensive.
Oh no, it was 60, I think, or
Yeah,
50.
it was like-
50. I think it was
I think
50 even.
$50. But Hasbro doesn't sell the stuff like that.
They've not done the Rancor. Remember the Toys R Us multi-pack that came with the black series, the 3 3/4 black series in the black and blue packaging, and a Rancor, had a Jabba and a few figures for like $120 or whatever.
Do you think
and it
the
clearance
Rancor
down to 70?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think the Rancor HasLab squashed the Mythosaur for you guys?
I don't know. I mean, I personally want the next HasLab to be a playset. I want it to be an Ewok Village or
Death Star.
Yeah.
Matt.
What's
I don't even like talking toys, but look at Matt.
No, I'm just reading. I'm reading the chat. I mean, I definitely have my collection. So
yeah.
Okay. So Mythosaur not going to be a toy. Just get over it. But as a character in the thing, it's pretty damn cool. I think it's pretty awesome. But thoughts on? Go ahead.
That ending, by the way, it really felt like a comic book ending or a Clone Wars ending. Like there was
very Clone Wars.
This episode felt very Clone Wars to me.
Even I think there's even that element of like go get help.
Yeah.
You know, and then like the character that goes get help to bring back somebody else. And
Bo-Katan yelling at the cockpit bubble like Mando barely fits in there. She had to have seen sooner.
Like, I'm going to tell you. Oh well, now what do we have here? By the way, why was she so depressed? Like Mando
you go
left
sit on
and
a
then
stone
she's
chair
just,
for years.
She needs to get a TV in there.
Like, has she not moved since the couple of days?
Nothing. She's just. And before we kind of assumed that she was in her bunker and she saw the ship arriving, so she got into position to like just be like, I don't care about the helmet. This time she's just looking at her hands like I got nothing to do. I don't even have a cell phone.
Be like doom scrolling,
right? At least show us
again.
So,
I mean, I guess this time it did show before.
Yes,
the thing came in that she was born.
Well, let's talk about Bo-Katan in this episode. Let's just jump into it, I guess, right? Should we just go there?
Yeah, we're working backwards from all of the things that got us excited.
Let's
Am
do
I
that.
right?
So, you know, where we left off last episode, she was like, man, I don't want to be it anymore. And then, but this time, you know, she apparently wants to kill Mando. She's like, let's get rid of him once and for all. And then the episode ends. Again, a lot of us Pedro stands. We're hoping he'd fully unrobe to get into the Mines of Moria, but he went in there fully clothed. But even as he was reciting the creed or whatever, you can see in her face, she was like, I think I like this Din Djarin fella.
Is that what you were getting from her? It was like
the vibes she was just giving.
That's funny.
She's like, okay, all right, okay.
I think, no. I didn't see Twitter patient there. That's not the vibe I got. No, I got that she was
Mandalorian. Nice.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's a family unit.
I do think they both need each other in very unique ways. And we had this moment with Din where he actually admitted, oh, Bo-Katan was right. You know, and you know, we need him to be cool with like not being so severe in a cult and like be able to take his mask off for the ladies. You know, but he's wearing it, you know, he's still kind of like, we need to do this creed. And then she's looking at him like, oh, maybe this fool knows something. And they're almost kind of in this weird Luke Skywalker, Han Solo kind of role where she's the cynic and he's the hopeful, you know, in this moment, and
believer.
And that dynamic works whether or not there's romance
and a faith, if you will,
right? And that's
more. There you go.
That's the vibe that I got. The vibe is she said it was pomp and circumstance when she recited the creed, but now she's maybe having that crisis of faith a little bit, going, oh crap, maybe there is something to this, right?
That's definitely where the episode ended.
Yeah.
with that look
Yes.
on her face of
Yes, she was like,
disbelief.
oh crap.
Mhm.
But I don't
Yeah,
want it to
like
go. I don't want it to go her way. I don't want her to be the religious, culty way to be.
Well,
but I
the
don't.
way
I
that
think she has that ability to kind of be the one in the middle, or maybe you know, we don't know what's going to happen with Bo-Katan's character, and my kids were arguing over whether or not she has right to the Darksaber now that she's the one that retrieved it.
Yeah, let's talk about that
Yeah.
because a lot of people in the chat are already saying it.
She's-
She should by rights should have it. She took it and took it from, I guess, the guy that took it from Mando.
Mm-hmm.
And
when she was wielding it, she had the
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
Well, so the Darksaber reacts to the person's,
Intention.
thoughts, intentions, and faith and whatnot. She is very focused. She's focused on bringing back her people, right? Mando is struggling because he's broken inside, because he believes in this, this belief that he is now an
Apostate.
well, thank you. I was going to say apostate of, and so he's at a crisis. He also has a child now. He's still kind of working through that, right? He's going in lots of different directions. She is very focused, and so I think that is what brings the Darksaber more easily to her, and she wielded it like a complete badass. And
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that Mando picked it up and put it back on his
Right?
belt and didn't say jack shit about
It
it.
was a bit of like. I felt like there was a moment for like the adults in the room to
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's like clearly you know how to do this better.
yeah.
And I think the whole stupid you have to earn it in battle thing, she kind of did.
And okay, this is a weird thing. So Bo-Katan is like, whoa, you're in this cult. That's way too strong, man. But I also subscribe to this whole thing with the Darksaber,
Well,
right?
In
Right.
fairness to her, she didn't, right? She just took it from with Sabine Wren, right?
Yeah,
True.
so Sabine gave it to her.
Yeah,
in
that's
Rebels.
her.
Just straight out gave it to her. She tried
Exactly.
to use it, and that didn't go well.
Exactly.
But-
I think that's more of it. Like she's like, oh crap.
Mhm.
But maybe this goes to the heart of her backstory, and we got a little bit more of that. Like she talks
Yeah.
about like how she ruled, but they wouldn't believe her, or there is this element of maybe when she was given that saber because she didn't earn it right in battle, like she didn't have the trust of the people when the Empire came. Maybe she still feels guilty for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Also,
Clear.
in the last episode, she felt dismissive of the Darksaber. She's
Mhm.
like, just go wave it around and they'll follow you.
yeah.
So she doesn't
Mhm.
really,
Yeah, she's
it's
in a
not
bad
as important to
place.
her. Yeah. So, I mean,
She's in a dark place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Grogu sensed it. Like,
It's like,
why so glum?
yes.
I did have a pretty big issue that she's going through, and she's telling her backstory, and she's
Uh-huh.
communicating all this, and the name Satine does not drop out of her mouth, not once. She doesn't even acknowledge a
Right?
sister.
Yes.
She doesn't acknowledge that she ruled the planet.
Yes.
She didn't do anything. She said, I've known Jedi. Well,
I
yeah,
fought
you've
with
known
them.
your sister's lover is what you've known. I mean, what's going on? I was not
And then she
happy
she
about that.
mentions her dad.
Yeah.
And you'd think
Skipped
that
right
like,
over her.
just even in one more line, you could just like name check.
I was like, where's the team? Like, show some spec on the name because, like, I'd love a flashback where we get a live action Satine. Maybe put a live action Obi-Wan in there. Like, come on.
Exactly. We need that. And who is your cast for Satine? Because I have mine.
Oh,
There's one that's on the nose, but I don't dig it. But there's
Okay.
another that I think is who she actually
Right,
was
Ralph.
based off of.
Yours.
Ralph.
Anna Torv
Okay. Yeah. From Fringe.
from Fringe.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's,
I can see that.
I mean,
I
I
have no
I'd
one.
take it.
I'm just kind of drawing a blank as to.
All right.
Yeah.
Jake,
Sorry.
what's yours?
Well, Kate Blanchett is who it should be.
Okay. Yes.
100%
that makes
should
sense.
be. And I
Yes.
believe I recall Filoni even mentioning that was kind
Yes.
of her archetype. But there's one that's on the nose.
Well, I was
ahead.
thinking Kate Blanchett too, but she should be what's her name from Rebels? That looks just like her character
Oh yeah,
from
Irene.
Crystal Skull.
Yeah, it looks just like
Yeah.
the Indiana Jones 4 villain, right?
Yes.
Irina, I forget her name in Indy. No, you're absolutely correct there. But no, the more on the nose one is, especially when she's playing against Obi-Wan Kenobi, it should be Nicole Kidman, who played Satine in Moulin Rouge.
Oh wow, yeah, that would be.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
All right. Yeah.
Charlie's got it. We're on the way.
All right. There was a Big Little Lies. Was Big Little Lies? She was on that. Yeah. So she does TV, folks.
No, I dude, Kate Blanchett would blow my mind if she showed up though.
Yeah.
That would be the best.
In the Star Wars.
But now since she didn't even mention her in this, like when it was so obvious you'd mention it, is it just not going to happen?
Yeah, well, probably not.
We don't know how fast they're gonna get off on Mandalore.
Now you're taking it a lot faster.
We don't know how they're going to. We don't know how long they're going to stay on this planet. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. And while they're there, maybe they run across something, because she did kind of leave that clue as to like, oh, this other race is still alive. Maybe who knows what else survived. So, are we to see yet? Mandalore's Lorian's still surviving in kind of nooks and crannies somewhere, or even the remnants of the throne that she could kind of be like, looking at or kicking around and being like, that was my sister's or something like that. So
yeah.
The creatures that we saw, it kind of reminded me of some like Harryhausen like kind of monsters. Like
I got a was it the time machine?
Morlocks.
Yeah.
The Morlocks, 100%.
Yeah, the Morlocks.
They were kind of like they took every mole people you've known. They took the Morlocks from Time Machine. They took the salt vampires from Star Trek.
Yes.
They took Sleestaks from Land Before Time.
You're right.
And they also look like a Star Wars, alien from the Cantina. And I can't think of a Muftak. Thank you. I was trying to think of his race. He's because Muftak's not the race, that's his name, but he's also Jedi Master Kruk, right? Or that big white Jedi Master.
Oh,
with the
yeah.
Oh.
So it reminded me. I thought that's what they were. Yeah. What's that?
The one that knocks his little tooth in the cantina. Like it's like a.
Oh yeah,
the thing, right?
That's a Cubas. A Cubas. That's Muftak. That's Muftak. Yeah, right. No.
I think so.
I'm wrong. That series, that the species I'm talking about showed up in Jabba's palace, not the cantina.
Oh, okay.
The big white furry thing that was in the background.
Oh yeah. I know.
That's right. Not Jabba's. I mean, Jabba's palace.
But it has the 4 eyes though.
No, that is
in the cantina.
That is Muftak. Okay. That's got the little proboscis nose.
Yeah, but there's a different one though that's in Jabba.
Yeah, there's like it's almost like a Wookiee-esque type creature. Yeah. I thought that was these things until they
came out of the shadows. But appropriate that it also kind of like refers to the time machine and just like how that whole story of like radioactivity or like the fallout of something. So it kind of made me think like, are there other Mandalorians still surviving on some level? So
yeah.
Well, what did you make of the helmet that lured Mando?
Oh yeah, that was kind of
was that helmet like messed up? It didn't look like Beskar, right? It definitely looked like it had rusted.
I just thought it was another helmet that was just kind of sitting there. It's kind of like
but yeah, I mean, but I wonder if that has anything to do with the weapons that were used, or I mean,
what did you make of the creature that?
Right, Sabine was at Star Wars Celebration. She's going to be in Ahsoka, the live action series.
Right.
She helped create a weapon for the Empire that was used then on Mandalore, and it was supposed to do something have effects against Beskar.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
About that.
It attacked them through their Beskar.
Yeah.
That creature though, it kind of reminded me of like a Geonosian, like it made those kind of noises at some point.
Oh, that's a good point. Like
I mean. Obviously, it was
trapped Mando.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it had like this metal body or structure that it was living in, but the clicks and stuff like that. I don't know if it was meant to be that or not, who knows? But
it was a beautiful design.
Really creepy.
Go Ralph.
Jay probably knows what I'm going to say.
What?
You guys watching Poker Face?
Yes, but I'm not up to date.
Yeah.
So there's an episode. There's an episode that Nick Nolte essentially plays Phil Tippett, and Phil Tippett used to work on Star Wars.
Yep.
And I believe Phil Tippett did the design of this creature, and it shows. It is definitely like a Phil Tippett design.
Really?
Yeah, and it was cool because like he's got the Mando on the spit, and I'm like, this is like a robot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why would a robot need to like fire up a Mando? But there was that creature in there.
Well,
it might be like a Dianoga eye.
Yeah, well, you noticed it looked like it was just like a left eye or a right eye.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, I love this design because it felt familiar while being brand new to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, see, there it is. I was just going to say, it is like Grievous crossed with those crab droids from episode 3 that were on the Battle of Kashyyyk.
Bomar Monk.
Yeah, Bumor Monk. And then it also kind of had a probe droidy type, head to the front of it. So it kind of like took all these elements. And is Doug Chain still working on this season? I think he is. And we all know that Doug Chain was the concept designer for the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy. And so, he taken maybe some of these things that he was very passionate about was awesome.
I thought it was interesting the way the creature died, because it looked like he just cut off the big head of the machine and the eye just went like black.
Maybe,
even though we saw that it was living in the little tiny.
Yeah, maybe there was some once he's connected in there. There's some like life support system or something.
Maybe.
We've all seen Pickle Rick. I mean, this is I assume how this little creature is existing. Okay, if you haven't seen Pickle Rick, then that well
that reference is totally lost.
It crawled away kind of like the head from The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing.
It also reminds me of something that would be from like the City of the Lost Children, or what is the other movie that's like Dark City from like the late 90s? It had that just kind of
Matrix.
Yeah. So
like the Sentinels in the Matrix, and they had a weird sort of goop.
Not convinced that it's dead since she didn't stab the eye.
That's what I was concerned. Maybe it's a little like Babu Frick. It's just like it's a lens. It's a magnifying lens, so it looks big, and it's just
I almost thought we were going to get a little Men in Black kind of moment where this little alien.
I honestly thought of that bounty hunter from the Clone Wars that was in that robot body, and then it came out looking like those. Almost looked like the I was going to say Mission Impossible. Independence Day robots inside.
The aliens,
little tiny squirmy dude.
Yep. Okay, so we had the monster. Let's see what else we talked about. Bo-Katan, talk about the Darksaber. I guess do you want to talk about R5D4 finally getting his moment to shine? Because he was supposed to be the one to help Luke destroy the Death Star.
Well, he is force sensitive, so
he did work for the rebellion, apparently.
Yeah,
he probably sacrificed himself so that R2 would go on his mission.
Yeah, this is a rough one. This is a rough one. I wasn't a fan of his backstory. Just let it be a broken R5.
If people don't know, maybe give a little bit context to his embellished backstory after the
well, obviously he was just a droid in Star Wars, right? Yes. He was just a broken droid that Galaxy smiled on R2 instead of R5. Then in the comics, again, I read it, I had it. Tales, Star Wars Tales was a comic book series Dark Horse put out where they did What If, essentially. What If, just non-canonical stories. And in one of them, they called him, Bumpy. What was his name? I forget. Speedy, something like silly name. But he was actually a force-sensitive droid who purposely malfunctioned because he sensed that R2 needed to go on and save the galaxy and blah, blah, blah. So that story was a what if, even in the old canon. Then, of course, all the new canon got recycled. And then when Dave Filoni was working on season 1 of Mando and we saw R5 in the background, he said, hey, why don't you, and there's some making of episodes where, why don't you dirty this up and make the motivator, make this the R5 that blew its, motivator and whatnot. So now that, I mean, it was still just a droid until this. Now he eventually apparently had some magical rebellion story that we never saw. So.
I mean, but Pelly might be just shining him on.
I think that's how I read it. She was just trying to like.
I think it's like
possibly.
it's like an inside joke for guys like us. But then also she was like throwing out all kinds of BS. So
yes, she was.
But it was kind of I think it was her BSing, but also a nod to that story.
Oh yeah,
depending on who wanted to believe
I think it served both of those things. That little nod, but also at the same time, like this is just a yarn that's been spun. Like it's not. I really liked that whole sequence and the way that it was shot. It looked really good. Like just the visual effects on it, the textures, the texture of the that crystalline glass.
Yes,
you know, and
Emerald City kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm glad you pointed that out because I had noticed that. And again, one of my beefs with Obi-Wan Kenobi is that obviously it was a COVID production, but they filmed it in the volume, right? Yeah. And you can honestly see that they only set up stuff within the volume. And you can actually watch scenes where the extras are like some Imperial extras are walking and then they have to turn abruptly, even though they're in this massive spaceport, because in reality, they're about to hit the volume wall and they got to pivot, right? So whoever is in charge of, obviously Jon Favreau is, shepherding this ship over here at Mando. There were some shots in this episode that looked amazing. And I forgot that they filmed this on the Void, right? They seemed expansive. They seemed massive. They seemed more than just a 360 degree screen room. And so I was very appreciative to that because I got lost. This episode felt more cinematic than it did, but it's also beautiful, right? It's cinematically beautiful, which is different from Andor because Andor is naturally beautiful because they shot on location, right? So it's two different ways of this, cinematic
like when
universe.
You can have like a studio produced album that sounds really good,
right?
But then you can also have that live album that's got some spacious stuff. So, but I think some of the cinematic aspects though is that scaling, like seeing the figures really small, like kind of going through these like large chasms, but then also going back to these close-ups where we can see these like really nice detailed texture, So, no, it sets up a lot though. Like it sets up the
Sorkin does them, and I love them. No, I agree. Like a lot of that spaciousness, and even once you get to the living waters of the whatever, Dan was like, oh, wait till you see this dump. You're gonna be disappointed. It's kind of a piece of shit. But then I was like, hey, that looks kind of cool. It's this neat.
He said it this time, not me.
Underground, thing. I was like, why are we talking? It looks kind of cool. It's like like a cenote or something. It looks neat.
And she's just reading that plaque on the wall, like, get a load of these guys. Am I right?
I'll do this one for you, you goober.
Did we discuss? Did he fall? Did he walk off the edge and sink his ass because he had his armor on and no jetpack, or was he dragged down by something? That was, great question. Did the mythosaur flick him off the edge, and he just dropped like a rock?
The mythosaur had anything to do with it. I think the mythosaur was just chilling there.
Yeah, because when Bo-Katan chases after him, there's definitely
a drop.
Yeah,
a drop.
So that's the thing.
I thought he dropped.
Yes,
like it's some test. Like
I think
it's like a leap of faith. Like
like an Indiana Jones. Also, maybe it's also kind of like, hey, if you just believe in all of this faith and you don't actually use your common sense, you're going to fall to the bottom of this thing and die.
Maybe the test is when you get down there, take off your armor to save you. You're not your armor.
Yeah. No, I mean that's all like, but it is kind of like this interesting visual metaphor, and the fact that he's going kind of all in, and then what's it's kind of like that old adage of like a drowning person like asking for God to save him, and God sends him all these things, and he doesn't.
A characteristic of him the entire show is that he just plunges headfirst into situations. He is very impulsive. He's skilled, so he can get himself out. But if we acted like Mando, our asses would be dead episode 1 because he is just lucky he's talented.
And it kind of fits to something I've loved. It was mentioned when he took his helmet off in the Imperial base, where like he looks straight forward, and he just like is looking straight forward. He's not looking anywhere else, and it kind of speaks to his personality. Just like he's just going straight forward, and he's not gonna like take it all in. He's just gonna go whatever he needs to get to. That's what he's gonna do. And
did you hear Pedro talk about that?
No,
like,
no.
That was a choice he made because he's like, if I live my life looking out of this, I don't see a peripheral anyway.
Yeah.
So when you take your helmet off, I'm going to go here because I'm not used to doing this. You're right.
But it speaks to that's like probably why Mandalorians are so stubborn, or why they fight against each other, because if you never take off your helmet and develop that peripheral vision, all you see is like your kind of tunnel vision, what's in front of you kind of thing.
And think about this, that Bo is the one that takes off her helmet, and she wants to like unite her people and bring her back. Whereas Mando's very self-focused on, I need to get back to my people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. He has the tool to unite all of Mandalore, and he's like, screw that.
I have a hunch that they have forgotten over time why the Darksaber is important to their culture. And I have a feeling it is the thing that will tame the mythosaur. It's just everyone forgot.
Oh, the Darksaber.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something about the fact that it was connected to a Jedi at one point, right? And so, is Luke going to reappear in this season, or
train?
Well, I mean,
I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, it takes a Jedi to it takes a Jedi to call him the Beast, and so I mean we've seen that with Ezra from Rebels, right?
This guy over here has tamed a couple beasts. Little baby Grogu has tamed a Rancor and a Mudhorn, and
right. So I mean this, and
is it going to take the two of them?
Well, I mean, like we even saw that visual connection of him seeing the Porgale from last episode, which is a nod to Ezra, who had that control of being able to communicate with animals. So
it's very Rebels, because that was a big part of Rebels.
You guys, this is depressing. This is depressing because we're spending this entire episode talking about monsters and creatures, and as a collector, I don't have any from this series. I don't have a Rancor. I don't have that sand thing that jumps up and tries to eat Boba. I don't have a Sarlacc. I don't have a Bantha or a Dewback or a Mythosaur. So they could do a whole monster line. Honestly,
they put monsters in every Star Wars movie.
That's
your
the
Raftars,
point. They are part of the storytelling process. Yet toy companies, I don't even care if the new Micro Galaxy, the little action fleet, updates. If they do a whole monster line, let someone make a Zillo Beast. Let someone do something. Why are they so cuffed? Why is every company so cuffed?
Is it because Star Wars kind of set the standard for 3 3/4 inch figures that could fit in vehicles? So maybe the perception is Star Wars is a space vehicle toy line, not a monster.
Well, we got Tauntauns and
but they're smaller. They didn't get. They did do it back in the day, but maybe the modern days is like, well, they want ships, and they barely do ships. But anyway, maybe that's.
But the beast, the beast that Jake was mentioning in the Book of Boba Fett that came out of the sand with the 4 arms.
Yeah,
that's Wampa size. Like you could do a Wampa scale, it's like this much bigger.
Oh, he's so upset he's leaving.
He's probably getting on that now.
What if he got up and behind him was a ton of beasts? Oh, here we go. He's got bins. We were saying only nice things while you were gone.
No,
I know,
not that
all nice
bad.
things.
Look it. It has been 40 some years, and this is what has been produced 40 years ago, but they can't do this today. And these aren't, again, these are Wampa size. Look at this is only twice a 3 3/4 figure. It doesn't seem like it would be too hard. This should be, something that they could produce in 2023. But whatever.
Jake's pulling receipts.
So
like that Razor Crest you have back there needs a giant space walrus.
Yeah, to bite it. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I would forgive them if they never made creatures since the line came back in 95. I would forgive them. I would be like, okay, this is a sci-fi space vehicle action figure line. But the fact that in Hasbro's 20 years that they were from 95, they made Rancors and Banthas and Dewbacks and, everything under the sun. The Disney era, this is my theory. The Disney era jacked up the license fee so high that toy companies can't afford to make things only once.
Ooh.
They have to make a mold. If they're going to spend $100,000 to make a mold for whatever toy they're making, they got to be able to pump it out multiple times.
Yeah.
I honestly believe if Rancor came out after the Book of Boba Fett, it would have sold.
I was surprised that they didn't.
But I'm telling you guys, like, if next week has an insane Mythosaur battle, you guys are gonna get a HasLab. I feel it. Because listen, dude, everybody, that's all anybody's talking about is the Mythosaur.
Yeah.
But Hasbro is a year behind everything. What did we see announced this week? We saw announced the Book of Boba Fett retro collection.
Yep.
The Book of Boba Fett is now 2 series ago because we've had Obi-Wan and Bad Batch and now Mandalorian season 3. I mean, they cannot operate within a timely frame. Timely
frameworks.
Timely time frame. No.
Timely time frame. No, I agree. They're behind.
Now they did make the 6-inch Tauntaun and Wampa,
Correct.
So they did make those. So, which that Tauntaun is pretty cool. So
No,
but they haven't made anything beyond that.
But think about how many creatures, how many creatures have existed in the sequel trilogy that
I know.
That do not exist whatsoever. It's a shame.
Jay's gotten real. He's pulling up the receipts now.
There you go.
Well,
this is Mandomania was yesterday.
So I guess these were announced yesterday. So this is the mission.
Been there, done
getting that for the kids.
No, they don't like how small they are. They prefer bigger figures.
See, I like this. I'll be getting this.
They like the Micro Galaxy better.
Ralph said that it needs more yellow. So
yes.
I just put the Lego one together.
I will say though, these vintage or these retro style ones, I absolutely love.
I like.
I get that Cara-Dune.
There's not a lot.
Black Chrysanthemum's way better than the
than
the Black series.
Yes.
Oh man.
I know our friends at YHS.
I'm not even a toy guy. I do Screen Geeks, and I'm watching your dang show every week. Some of this stuff sinking in.
I am shocked they didn't go with a Chewbacca on this, a Chewbacca body. I'm super glad they didn't because this guy's way more, thick.
Yeah.
And if you've met him in real life, he is a beast of a human.
Chewbacca is really upset that you just like dissed him.
He's the same. He's the same.
Chewbacca's like, I'm not thick.
You can't even bench press a Wampa or something.
Well, if they're gonna make this, then where's the holiday special?
Oh
look at that Kenner goodness right there.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's like that reminds me of the old school.
It is. It's straight out.
It's just like it. Well, it's the same Luke. It's the same Luke, but they definitely did the.
They re-released the Luke too, didn't they?
They're going to. Yes.
So
well,
great.
Luke is just now kidding with those who pre-ordered on e-tailers. They got the Return of the Jedi.
Cad
wave.
Bane is freaking awesome.
Yeah, he is.
I don't know. I like that little baby Grogu with.
Oh wow,
Luke.
it looks like he's got the old school
He
staff.
does
too.
have the old school gaffy
Mhm.
stick, which is
Hey,
awesome.
Jay, that looks like your dad.
Is he still in the chat right now? He was.
Yeah, he just dropped into being a hole to. No.
He's probably not here anymore.
I'm curious
He
about
listens
that
to good jokes.
Tusken though. Is that the old? Is that because Tusken's getting ready to come out because they're doing the next 6 figures in Star Wars. Now the question is that just a repaint with a new robe of the Tusken body?
It doesn't look like it. The body looks a little different.
The body does look different, but it does have the double kind of hands,
Right? It does have that, and it has the gaffy stick. The head looks the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be awesome.
Cool.
I'm going to need to get a couple of those.
You can find it on geekdeadlife.com. Anyway,
There's
any
no-
other thoughts?
This is
Oh,
my one.
Very little
Kenobi.
yellow.
Ooh, very little yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, very little
Oh.
yellow on that one. So this was the
Really?
one Kenobi figure, retro figure that I picked up just because I liked that robot. So.
Yeah. What was that one called again? Like
Ned B.
Ned B. That's
Wow, look at you. This is like
I might
Glad
have
you're here.
5,000 some figures surrounding me right
Um,
now.
What was the holiday they were celebrating there? I forget.
Bonta Eve.
Bunta Eve.
What is
Booty
it
Eve,
that I missed?
No,
what
it's the
that
pod
was?
race. Bonta
Mhm.
Eve pod race
From
from episode 1.
yes, okay.
Have you ever seen the
Yeah.
first Star Wars movie?
Yeah, but I forgot. It's been a minute, okay?
Oh man, I struggle with you saying the first though.
I know.
That was a little hard. I was like,
Ooh.
no, not the first. Yes, Bonta Eve. So they are. Bonta Eve is actually an old Hutt who got famous. I don't know the full story, but
He got
yeah,
syphilis.
he got famous for syphilis.
He got the Bunta, man.
He got that bone to. Yada 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 yada.
You don't know where that tail's been, man. So it's usually started by a Hutt though, biting the head off of a frog and spitting it. I think, right?
Yes,
it's a little
highly
bit-
contagious. Highly
Dude,
contagious.
I really come
Those
around
pre-COVID.
on the prequels. They're so weird. He can't just hit the gong.
Yeah,
I
no.
guarantee you that the arms were too short to get around his fat body to hit the gong. So George just said, have him bite the head off a frog and spit
But
it.
his hand being able to grab and bring a frog up to his mouth.
Well, they always had a bar for him, frog bar.
I don't know. The Bonta Eve might be canceled because there is a girl in a bikini at the Bonta Eve next to Jabba the Hutt, and we know that
Yeah.
Disney era is not. Have you seen recently that they've started replacing
Yeah.
All
the
of
Princess Leia bikini
Yes,
from
even
the
classic Return of the Jedi poster
yeah
Oh, okay.
removed the
the slave Leia, and they
Yes,
put
they
a Endor Leia on it.
mhm.
Like the movie poster, they've started to tweak because it
Yeah.
has the bikini on it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's rough.
not my Star Wars.
As long as they don't mess with Uga from Return of the Jedi, I'll be fine.
Well, that's the thing.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
where do you stop? I mean,
Yeah.
Star Wars always has a little bit of sensuality in there, and so if
Mhm.
you say one character can't have it, are you going to say all of them? Because I mean, there's some scandally. I mean, Kylo's shirtless. I mean, Luke's in a diaper. I mean, there's a lot of
There's skin.
skin in Star Wars.
Padme's got that midriff.
Yeah, for no reason, just rip off
Just
shirt.
tear away midriff because it was
Um,
that era. So
Yeah, bear midgets were big back then, but bear midgets are back in style now. So it's just
yeah.
it was always-
Yeah, I know. I saw Toy Geeks. What was John thinking?
I was really waiting for the Pelimoto, like I need more. Need more of
Pelimoto.
her.
Well,
so
You know,
now,
the
did
epitome.
we hear Grogu utter his first word? Like,
Yeah.
Is that legit? Did he really say that?
I
Or was
said
she
something.
searching?
He was like,
Was she searching?
yeah.
She could speak a lot of languages, so I don't know. She speaks droid. She speaks Jawa.
She spoke very fluent Java. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's
It
great.
was great. I liked it because it seems like every time they do Jawa sound effects, it's the exact same 5 phrases from like 1977. So it's good to hear some other Jawaese being spoken.
She's really good at it too. Amy Sedaris, like she knows like another language to me when she drops that Jawaese in, like she just mixes it. So
Allison Troy, if they digitally put a shirt on Kylo and remove those saucer nips from my memory, I'm cool. Hey, no nip shaming here, Allison. All nips are welcome. Big nips, little nips, medium nips.
I like to remind my students every once in a while that it was illegal for men to be shirtless in America until the 1930s.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Would you remember? Think about it. Old timey. You see those,
suits.
That's because it was illegal for men to be topless too.
I wish that was the case in the 80s growing up and my neighbors, dads, and just hanging out without shirts, drinking beers in the front lawn.
That's a California thing. I will say is like being shirtless is far more common in California versus a lot of other places not as common.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest, we're not shirtless ever, even in the summer.
SoCal, we're shirtless all the time. All the time. That's why we all have skin cancer.
Right.
So final thoughts on this episode before we go to screen memes to close it out. I will start with our special guest, Jake.
Final thoughts. This is exciting. If I hadn't seen any of the trailers, I would really not know where the series is going at this point. I mean, I would make some guesses, right?
Yeah.
But because they got to what was kind of the hype, the best moments of Boba Fett was the Mando episodes, and this is what they were pushing you toward. So we got there already by episode 2 of 8.
Yeah.
So what is the next 6 episodes? I mean, I hope that there's something that's going to knock us out of the water. I hope there is some Luke Skywalker type reveal that's coming, because to have the Mythosaur be the big reveal for this season it would be a little lackluster, I hope that there is something more to that. And so I'm kind of excited to see where we're going. I think, uniting or civil war. I don't know if it's civil war or uniting of the Mando groups, right? Because it looks like in the trailers, again, the only way we'd know this is from the trailers, that might be something that's going to happen. So, and obviously they are going to do something with IG-11 because
I think this whole thing is like, that was dumb. Just use our
No, I don't think. I think when you deal with such a tight show, you can't have an absolute throwaway scene like that. And also, we're talking about it's Taika, they're going to want to bring back a famous person to be involved with this show at some point. So
I agree. Ralph, final thoughts.
I very much enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to the next one.
Hey,
besides the walking, I liked all the stuff in it.
Nice. What if they were running?
Might be my new favorite.
What if they were running? Would it make you? Would it satisfy you?
Well, little baby Grogu was able to run faster on the way out. Like, let's get some urgency.
Was that his first flip? Did we see his first flip and his first
flip
word
twice?
He jumped out.
The cockpit,
right.
And So
he's got that.
They're setting it up. They're setting it up for the Darksaber.
Yeah. All right, Matt, final thoughts.
I can't remember my final thoughts, but if my friend Ralph would remember, these 2 droids we fell in love with from the first Star Wars movie did a lot of walking in that movie, a lot of walking. So just you take the walking with when it comes. Okay?
But they didn't escape from the sandcrawler and re-walk the same route over again.
I'm not picking up on the metaphor, but I enjoyed this episode. I think this is what we should have started off with this season, and I just consider that last episode like a prelude episode or something like that. Like it was like to open this thing up. But and I could see where if both of these episodes were smashed together and we got an hour and 15 minutes of this show, I would have probably have just enjoyed it just as much more. But
I think so.
But good stuff. Even more Jedi walking in Jedi. Yeah, you're right.
Ralph just hates walking today for whatever reason.
No, it's the fact that
He's
that
in
Baby
LA.
Yoda
Of
and
course, he
Mandalorian
hates
were
walking.
going the exact same route with the exact same creatures. Bo-Katan fought the same guys as Mando did, and it was just kind of like, may go in a different route or make it more interesting.
I felt like they were going in a slightly different route because she found them like kind of like up above, and then she shot them down and then battled with them. It felt like they were, and there was that moment where like she kind of like pushed Grogu a little bit harder. That's what I started this all off with, like the Grogu growl. Like that was like a really cool. Like he was kind of like talking back. He had a little sass to him. Like that.
I don't mean to sound like a weirdo, but I'm pretty sure R4, when he was in the ship and Bo-Katan was walking away from them, he turned on the video camera and zoomed in on her butt to check her out. What's that all about?
He's just watching them.
No, I think you missed that.
R5's a perv.
Yeah,
he's a peeper.
Yeah.
He went.
Yeah.
Like that. It was a slow whistle.
Oh, shit.
Busted his motivator.
All right. I also enjoy this episode. I had a good time, and I'm excited to see where it goes from there. All right, so we are at the end of the episode. That means it's time to do some screen memes where we check out memes from this episode of Mandalorian. And now screen memes are a part of geekdadlife.com, so you can play along at home. I'm going to put a link in the chat. It's also in the description if you're watching this after the fact. And we got a link in the chat. So follow along at home if you want to. But here we go. Screen memes for chapter 18 of The Mandalorian, which we like to call Meme-Delorian. And Jake, if you don't know, tradition is Matt reads out the memes.
For our listening audience.
I don't have to describe them visually to everybody, but it started all because I thought this was a podcast and I was pretending as though I needed to describe these to people. So that's the reason.
That is a good podcaster.
Viewers.
So all right, so let's go down the list here. I love the spoilers with no context. For the and this one's pretty fun.
Okay, so this one is there's 4 panels, and I do like the spoilers without context. Even though one of my kryptonites though is SpongeBob SquarePants because I don't know this show. That's not.
But visually, what do you see here?
Plankton is inside the robot, Mr. Crab.
It's a one-eyed creature,
His
and
name's
then there's
Plankton.
a robot crab. So
Jesus, how do you not know anything about SpongeBob?
it's just
Your children are old enough to know
Yes.
SpongeBob or growing up with them.
SpongeBob.
I never watched.
I'm 46 and I know SpongeBob.
I've never watched it. I feel like I'm gonna get excommunicated from this podcast.
No, it's
now.
fine.
It's
Anytime there's a SpongeBob one, you can't handle
I
it.
don't. I'm like it's my kryptonite.
He's
I
sweating
thought, and I
a
was
little
like,
bit, I'd
oh my
say.
God.
Kayla, please send as many SpongeBob memes as you can.
Okay, the other one is like a pig being roasted on a thing.
Jesus,
Oh, there's
that's
another
just not it.
Black Nest monster, because I guess that's like the mythosaur.
Mythosaur, yes.
And
yes.
then there's this person that's on this old tiny diving suit.
I like that you went through the pictures counterclockwise.
I can't.
Dare I ask you to read another one?
No, you don't want me
No,
to
no,
hear
no.
this one.
No.
Okay, so
This
what
is
we
too
see on
many.
this one, geez, who are these
Krang's
people?
in there, yes.
Krang, yes. Krang would be a reference that I get. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is in the little robot body. We have Iron Eagle, which I guess is what's the Iron Eagle? Oh, wait, what is the Iron Eagle?
Is
in
it the
this?
2 helmets?
Is it Grogu flying with I don't get that
Is it
reference.
sponge-worthy? No, I think maybe they're flying their ships or whatever. I don't know.
No one knows.
Yes,
This
it's
is
like,
why we probably shouldn't explain.
Screw
because
Matt.
don't know
We
what-
should let him read stuff.
Today is International Women's Day, so happy International Women's Day to all.
Today is also National Proofreading Day.
And
I know this because today's Garbage Bell kid on my calendar is Mistake Jake.
Oh, there you
So,
go.
and
That's
to,
just your namesake.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Jake mistake, I should say.
But we got ladies in the chat tonight. Allison, Kayla, Colleen is in the house. I don't know if there's any other ladies right now, but happy International Women's Day. And I love these memes here celebrating happy International.
Also, with that image, we got our first on-screen visual of that. The shield guard. They would use that against lightsabers. So that shield was. Iron Eagle is about a kid who steals a fighter jet to save his POW father. Oh, it was in the plot the whole time, Space Cowboy. Thank God you're here.
Oh, man.
Wait, do we skip one?
I love this succinct. Chapter 18. The one where Din gets wrecked for 42 minutes.
That's true. That's kind of
Bo-Katan can definitely handle a sword. The way that Bo-Katan is the definition of fierce and flawless power with the dark saber, and then there's Din Djarin struggling, like, please someone help him.
Now, could it be that he was trying to use the sword against natives of Mandalore?
She did too. She hacked those dudes up.
Right?
That's true. That's true.
It still looked heavy.
Better.
She has a right to, though. It's her planet, so technically.
Well, she picked up the saber too, and it was like she had the right to it almost.
I loved how she whipped her. Paz
used it. Okay.
Her her grappling hook little device and brought it to her, kind of like the Force. That was
it was very. I was like, at first glance, I was like, oh, is she using the Force? Like, oh no, she isn't. Okay, she's using.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, so it wasn't just me who saw the vibes as well as people in the chat. Din starts to recite the creed, Bo-Katan.
That's not a microphone reference, is it?
I guess. Proud dad alert. You just know there was a proud smile under that helmet. You're a kid. He's tougher than he looks, and he's quite the navigator.
Oh, yeah, that was a little sweet moment there. And then, and then that's also the same moment where she basically calls him out for like, hey, this kind of ironic. You've never.
Isn't Pog like pomegranate, orange, and guava juice? Isn't that Pog juice?
It's these little things from the 90s, right? That you play the game with. Yeah.
It's like the 90s versions of marbles.
I know that, but not SpongeBob.
Depressed hot girl who doesn't like visitors. She's so real for that.
I like the images that they chose here too.
In the rain.
Of her looking out the rainy window.
Everybody hurts. I feel like she loved March through May 2020. Again, Colleen puts these together. So these little commentaries. That's Colleen's in there. So good on you, Colleen, for that. Friends don't lie. Bo, did I complete the ritual? Sure you did. You're lying. I didn't complete it. This is from The Office.
The Office. Yep. And might I say, maybe one of the worst episodes.
It is. That's a weird episode where they go to
Robert California. It's the Robert California season.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Wait. You think the Mythosaur woke up from 1,000 years of hibernation because it sensed the true ruler of Mandalore in the living waters?
What? And it's the Charlie Day.
Yeah.
Like
conspiracy theory thing. Bo-Katan seeing the Mythosaur after telling them it's just children's stories.
It's like an inversion of
Bo-Katan teasing Din for believing in folk tales. You got laughing Steve Harvey. And then you got Bo-Katan seeing a real Mythosaur. It's like, it's real.
It's true. All of it.
It's true. All of it. Bo-Katan, cell phone, Drake, get the dark saber. Tame the Mythosaur.
Yes.
I do not want the season to end with either of them riding a Mythosaur because it's just so much of Boba Fett.
What if they're riding it together? Face to face.
What about the Mythosaur riding them? I don't know. It just needs to be something different.
Let's see. Riley Silverman, Din Djarin picks R5D4 off the ground. I got the baby droid.
Riley Silverman, who was on live action Star Wars a couple weeks ago.
Oh, well, there you go. That's what I should check out that show. It's a really good show.
It's a really good show.
This one's from /4 Kayla. It's hilarious how the horrors were waiting for him to take his helmet and armor off to bathe in the waters and then remove his cape blaster jetpack. I'm horrors, myself included. I was hoping we'd see a naked Pedro Pascal.
I really didn't think that we were going to see him take off that helmet, so
I know they have established a place where you're very anxious about it now that he has taken it off in front of people. Like when she handed him that pog juice, and I was like, "Oh, is he going to do it?" Because he could still do it and then still get forgiven in the water.
Yeah, he totally could have.
Right.
It's Disney. We're not even getting male nipples. Oh my God. Let's see. Chapter 19, as told by SpongeBob and Patrick. Just why don't you go take a break on this one, man?
Okay, well.
Throughout the entire episode.
That's kind of like the half of Bad Batch today too.
Yeah. And
I haven't seen Bad Batch yet. Shh.
Ooh, it's a good one.
Me either.
Okay.
Me either. Keep it down, you two.
The Mythosaur waking up from his nap by another Mandalorian thinking his house has magical powers.
I like that because it's so true.
Who's that guy?
He's gonna be mad.
And that's
Matt. Does Matt know who that character was?
That was.
Yeah, hold on. Who's this character? Yeah,
that is Patrick.
Yay!
Patrick.
Yes. Okay, I just feel like I
was that a stall because you were Googling at the same time?
No.
It's Pat.
No. Seriously. I knew that was Patrick the whole time. Good stuff with this episode. Looking forward to next week. So
Thanks,
I'll try to catch up on my SpongeBob in between now and then.
Oh my God. All right. That'll do it for this episode of live reactions of Mandalorian Season 3. Jake Stevens, thank you so much for coming and hang out with us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure. Always love talking Star Wars, Mando, toys, you name it.
And where can people find you? I put a link to your website in the description below. And also, I'm guessing most places at Forum is Zuckuss, which you have there on your name. But where can people find you?
Yeah, we can find you. You can find me. At the site, on Instagram, on Twitter, on the Facebook still every once in a while. I've done 40 years of being known as the Star Wars guy, but if I was to pivot this camera, you would probably see more toys that aren't Star Wars than are Star Wars. So I'm starting to dial up another channel. It's called the Toy Night Show. So you'll find some videos going to slowly leak out every once in a while on the old YouTube. So that is a new adventure here. We'll start in 2023 just because the site's about a decade old. And, like I said, sometimes the scratches aren't getting itched by the Hasbro Star Wars team, but over there I got my Transformers and my Masters of the Universe Origins, and there's my Sky Striker. And so, time to share a little love for these other lines too. So Star Wars isn't going away, but like your background, I could fairly match it. So
I love the Toy Night Show. I think it's a brilliant handle, and whenever you're up and running, my friend, we're gonna have to have you on Toy Geeks to
perfect
out of it. Ralph, you had a big announcement today. Would you want to tell people where they can go?
If everybody could follow this on any social platform that you're at, I am producing a feature-length documentary about the television show Lost from Taylor Morden, their director of The Last Blockbuster, and we're looking for a release date of, let's just say, sometime in September 2024.
Sometime in September. Anytime in September. If you're a Lost fan, you might guess when.
I mean, this isn't a promise. We're fingers crossed that we can get it done on that certain date.
Okay. Excited for it, my friend. I've been working on it a long time, working tirelessly on it.
And Jay, we haven't shot your footage yet, but you and Jack will be. Yeah.
I mean, that's when this thing really becomes a project. I'm not. I know you've had Bobby Moynihan, all these famous people and shit, but really, it's not until I show up.
Don't announce too many.
Well,
Luckily, you only
shared
announced
on Instagram today, right? I'm not,
Yeah.
okay, good.
No, you're good. You're good. I was afraid you're in the know a little bit.
And Matt, where can people find you, my friend?
You can follow me on Instagram or TikTok at everyday_inventors. And sometimes I do a podcast with some other people. So we do the RCAD. You can catch me there. And if we ever do a Star Wars podcast, which I don't know when we would ever do because my dance card is pretty full, you can also listen to Owen and Baru's barbecue. So
amazing
great name.
You still
Never get
pass enough.
Amazing name, inconsistent.
that pretty much sums us up.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And until next time, hasta luego.